In fields where giants left their stone-born trace, we stand and marvel, humbled by their grace. From Saxay's walls to Baalbek's platform base, what hands could move such weight to such a place? We've gazed on knobs that dot the ancient stone, drilled holes aligned where logic would have flown, and burn marks scorched where fire's seed was sown, all signs dismissed as ritual, unknown. But what if every mark and every scar was left by minds who saw the fire star, who learned that heat like gods could lift and spar and float the earth as though it weighed but tar? A campfire flares, leaves rise into the air, they watch the smoke and feel the buoyant flare. Then see, what lifts the ash could lift a stair, and heat becomes the breath that stones could wear. So let us walk through flames and through the past, where smoke and stone in secret bonds were cast, where ancients, with a gaze both slow and fast, built wings from fire and made their knowledge last. To lift with fire, you first must start with flame, not worship spark, but heat with measured aim. The sights reveal it, char and ash remain, a thermal map along the hauling plane. Yet heat alone won't raise a single stone, it needs a skin, a lung to call its own. So hide and fibre, stitched and pitch imbued, became the craft where flame and force accrued. No skins survive, but still we find the trace. The cords, the woven strength, the resin's grace. In Egypt's sails and Andes' bridge embrace, the ancients knew the fabric's lifted place, but none of this would work without the hold. The knobs, the holes, where stories long grow cold, placed not for show but function bold and clear, they gripped the ropes and bore the engineer. Three truths converge, the fire, the net, the tie. Together born, they taught the stone to fly. And scattered across the earth, if we but try, we find their touch where ancient echoes lie. The Neanderthals, broad-shouldered, thick of brow, stand near the blaze, their task unfolding now. They learn not speech, but something deep and keen. The fire lifts, its breath unseen, but clean. They built a bladder, stitched from beast and vine, a heaving sack warmed by a trench-lined spine. The stone beneath it trembled in its girth, half floating now above the charred black earth. Their cords looped round the knobs with practised grace, the ropes tight drawn, each bound in proper place. Plug holes received the beams to frame the lift. A skeleton to bear the fire's gift. Beside the rig they moved with ashen intent, their hands not clumsy as fate was bent. With poles they nudged the drift, with coals they fed, and watched the stone behave as if it bled. No words were carved, no chance to fill the air, just smoke and stone and minds that made them square. They grunted not with awe, but comprehension. They'd found the sky and claimed its old suspension. In Egypt, where the Nile's slow breath runs wide, the old kingdom's masons took the fire's side. With linen sails and ropes of flaxen twist, they learned to lift with heat and desert mist. Their cloth was sealed with oils and sap and pitch, a silken lung both fireproof and rich. They shaped the air with flues to guide the flame and fed it clean without the tongue of blame. At Giza's base the desert rolled out flat, a staging ground for stones and rigs and spat. The blocks would glide, their weight part given sky, their shadows long beneath a linen eye. The obelisks, half-lifted, tipped by hand, would lean into the void on fire's command. Ballooned along their length with cords held taut, they rose not fast but balanced, bent with thought. And stone by stone the pyramids grew wide, each level climbed with breath the fires supplied. No wheels, no cranes, just clever burning air, and teams of men who hauled the floating square. If men could raise the pyramids in time, with tools of rope and rhythm, ash and lime, if just a few millennia could birth such temples carved from sky and stone and earth, then what of those who came before the spark of language, war or script upon the bark? What might they shape with tens of thousand years, beyond the flood, beyond our fading fears? The Baalbek stones, enormous, still and steep, lie set so high they make our reason weep. No crane, no lever built by later hand could lift them cleanly onto that stone stand. Yet there they are, aligned, immense and bare, with knobs and plug holes whispering through air. These were not myths nor idle feats of kings. They rest like keystones built for vanished wings. So turn your eyes to Kidam's barren lake, where bygones pipes through fossil silence break, where hydrogen may hiss from vents below and hint at crafts the ancients used to know. What if a silk, tight woven, light and thin, could hold that gas and lift a world within? A floating rig not fed by flame but sealed, a force of nature coaxed, not carved or wielded. Silk stronger than the steel we later bore, could catch the sky and lift far more than law. And early man, not crude but long refined, might build with patience what we've lost to time. No gods are needed here, no distant stars, just breath and cloth and knowing what we are. The sky has always waited to assist. And fire, once a toy, became the alchemist. So Baalbek is not mystery but key, not miracle but deep technology. A legacy too old for books to keep, but strong enough to lift the earth from sleep. And if they found that path and walked it far, then what remains may yet define what are. Not lost but veiled, their smoke now calls again, lift up the stone and lift what might have been.